Stammen's post-game comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score in the rubber game of this four-game series today in New York. The Mets 4 and the Padres 2. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. A lot to do, as always, on our post-game coverage. We'll hear from Craig Stammen. We've got a full game recap for you, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more. Hey, player with a top 100 spa, an epic rooftop pool, and Lux Hotel Suites. Jamul Casino Resort is the mini vacay you need. The Players Place. Well, the Padres dropped the rubber game of this series in New York. They complete what becomes a 3-3 road trip to Cleveland and New York. So, sort of an okay road trip for the Padres as they drop to 68-60 on the season. Now we'll wait for some of the other scores today, see what happens in the wild card picture. Padres will certainly end today still in that third and final wild card spot. Question is, will they lose any ground to teams like the Phillies, the D-backs, the Cardinals, and so on? We'll talk more about that a little bit later. The issue in this game, really much like the issue on Monday in the series opener, the Padres offense just not producing a lot, missing out on opportunities. You know, Monday's game, it was the crazy first two innings with three guys getting thrown out at the plate, one guy forced out at home plate, and then from that point on, Padres really had nothing going offensively against Mets pitching. The Mets won the game 2-1 on Monday. Padres, to their credit, bounced back. The Tatis game yesterday, really nice win to even up the series at a game apiece. Here today, Padres, they had tons of opportunities, 12 at-bats with runners in scoring position. Padres only went 2 for 12 in those opportunities. We'll get into the specifics, how it went in our game recap coming up, but that tells the story right there. I mean, this felt like a winnable game. The Padres only trailed 2-1 heading into the bottom half of the eighth inning. It was either a scoreless game, a 2-0 game, or a 2-1 game going to the bottom half of the eighth inning when the Mets tacked on two. Big error by Sung-Moon Song ended up playing a big role in this game, made the mountain much taller to climb for the Padres in the top of the ninth inning when they would rally. We'll get into it with the game recap, but to me, this game was on the offense today. Michael King, solid outing, gave up the 2-run home run to Benj, but that was it. 6 2/3 innings, 2 runs. You know, another game, where King wasn't perfect, but he was pretty darn good today. 6 2/3 innings, 2 runs given up. He really made one mistake, the home run to Benj, which, was not a terrible pitch by Michael King, and Benj did a good job going with it the other way. But again, Padres only getting 2 runs, issues with runners in scoring position. They only had 5 hits in this game. They only had, they had 7 hits on Monday. But again, that was the weirdness with the guys getting thrown out at home plate. But the Padres had opportunities throughout this ball game. And I do think in the overall picture of this series, it is a frustrating series loss. Now, the Mets, despite their record, they're playing some much better baseball right now. The Mets, after their win today, they are 11-4 in their last 15 games. So we talked about it throughout the series. This was a series where it really was, despite the Mets record being what it was, well below 500, two of the hottest teams in baseball in the Padres and Mets. And look, one series loss, losing 2 out of 3 to a hot team, does not erase all the good the Padres have done. Even after today, the Padres have still won 18 of their last 25 games, 18-7 in a 25-game span. They have played great baseball, and as I said, the Padres will still end today in a playoff position. Not that I'm overly worried about it on August 19th. It's getting late. It's not super, super late yet. But just to give you a little perspective, the world is not ending because the Padres lost the series, by the way, for the first time in their last 8 series. However, 2 things can be true at once. It's not the end of the world. This also did feel like a very winnable series. It did. I mean, again, Padres offense, they lost 2-1 on Monday. Felt like a very winnable game. You had all those guys thrown out at home plate. And then today, again, this felt like a winnable game where if the Padres just find a way with all these opportunities today to come up with, another big hit or two, they probably go on to win the game. And they got good enough starting pitching both today and on Monday with Walker Buehler going 6 innings, 2 runs given up to win those games. And the Padres ultimately lose 2 out of 3 to the New York Mets. So Sky's not falling because the Padres lost their first series in a while, but this did feel, I think, to be fair, like a pretty winnable series for the Padres. And instead, they lose 2 out of 3, and they go 3-3 on this road trip to Cleveland and New York. When we come back, full game recap. We'll hear from Craig Stammen coming up a little bit later as well. Final score today, Mets 4 and the Padres 2. Our postgame coverage continues after this. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score in New York today, the Padres fall 4-2 to the Mets as the Padres drop 2 out of 3 this week in New York. They go 3-3 on this road trip to Cleveland and New York City. Padres return home for the start of a homestand on Friday against the Minnesota Twins. Let's recap this one, tell you how it went down on this Wednesday in Queens.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Our starting pitching matchup today, Michael King against Robert Stock. Yes, that Robert Stock of the Blue Padres going back to 2018-2019, back in the major leagues and starting for the Mets. Both guys were throwing up zeros early on, but in really different ways. Stock was getting in and out of trouble, throwing a ton of pitches. He walked 2 in the first inning. He walked a batter and hit another in the second, but Padres didn't score in either frame. Stock got through 4 scoreless innings to begin his day, but he needed 71 pitches to get there. King, meanwhile, he was cruising early, 9 up, 9 down to begin his day. He was working in the 4th inning, still well under 50 pitches when there were 2 outs and nobody on, but then King issued a 2-out walk to Bo Bichette. That free pass, well, it was costly. Mets rookie Carson Benj was next.
Runs, Benj swings and hits it in the air up the left field line. Rengifo over, and this one gone. Oh my! Right in front of the foul pole. First row, just fair. No idea how it was fair, but it was. And a 2-run homer will give the Mets a 2-0 lead here in the fourth.
Yeah, it was not that well struck from Benj, but he somehow tucked it inside that left field foul pole. Just went with the pitch. A left-handed batter hitting it out the other way down the line. 2-run shot. Padres trailed 2-0 after 4 innings in this game. They responded, though, in the 5th inning. Xander Bogaerts had a leadoff double against Stock. The Padres' first hit of the day. Bogaerts still on second base for Fernando Tatis Jr.
And Tatis swings, hits it out towards left center field. Ewing on the run. He's not going to get there. It's over his head. One hops up against the wall. Bogaerts will score. Fernando into second base, an RBI double, and a 2-1 game here in the 5th.
So the Padres down by 1. They got 2 on with 1 out later in the inning against Mets reliever Jonathan Pintaro, but Manny Machado grounded into a double play to end the inning. So the score stayed 2-1. Game settled down after that. King pitched the scoreless 5th. The Padres then got a leadoff double from Ty France in the top of the 6th inning, but he was stranded at second base. King pitched the scoreless bottom of the 6th. The Padres didn't score in the 7th. Before the bottom of the 7th inning started, Xander Bogaerts came out of the game. He appeared to reach for the back of his leg on a swing in the top of the inning. Sungmoon Song moved to shortstop. Luis Rengifo moved from left field to third base. Jace Bowen replaced Bogaerts in the lineup. He went to left. Those defensive changes, keep them in mind. They play a role in this game later. Back to the ball game at this point. Padres down 2-1. King still working in the bottom half of the 7th inning. He left the game with a couple of base runners on. Jeremiah Estrada came on to face Marcus Semien. Semien singled to right. Fernando Tatis Jr. came up throwing. He threw out Francisco Alvarez at home plate. That kept the deficit at 2-1. Another great play for Tatis in this series. Daniel Duarte came in for the Mets in the top of the 8th inning. He put together a 1-2-3 frame. Estrada stayed on for the bottom of the 8th inning. Padres down 2-1, so Estrada just trying to keep it a 1-run deficit. Mets put runners on first and third with 1 out for Bo Bichette.
Estrada delivers, and a ground ball to shortstop. Song has it. Long throw to second. Oh, it gets away. Goes into right field. Ewing has scored. Lindor going to be held at third. Bichette ends up at second base. It's now 3-1, and instead of 2 outs, the Padres get none.
Yeah, a critical error by Sungmoon Song, who again had only moved over to shortstop because Bogaerts came out of the game. He had time, and he rushed the throw, and it got away, and it was a big error. Run came with the score. That made it a 3-1 game. Padres brought in Yuki Matsui. He got a ground ball with the infield drawn in. Padres got an out at home for out number 2 in the inning, but that 8th inning wasn't over. Still runners on first and third for the Mets. Jared Young at the plate.
And Young hits a rocket up the middle into center and a base hit. Bichette trots home from third. Ben's going to go first to third. RBI single for Jared Young. And now 4-1 in the 8th.
So the Padres trailed 4-1 going to the 9th inning. Right-hander Kodai Senga, who had been a starter for the Mets for a while, they've transitioned him to the bullpen, giving him a chance to close games now towards the end of the season. Senga came in, the Padres down 4-1. The Padres would make some noise. A 1-out single from Luis Rengifo. Luis Campusano walked, so all of a sudden, 2 on, 1 out. The tying run stepped in the form of pinch hitter Gavin Sheets.
Sheets swings, rips it on a line into right field. That's down and a base hit. Rengifo rounding third. He's going to score. Ben's throw will go to third, not in time. Pinch hit, RBI single, Gavin Sheets. And a 2-run game here in the 9th.
So all of a sudden, the Padres down by 2 runs, the tying runs aboard, the potential go-ahead run at the plate in Austin Hayes. Runners on first and third, 1 out. It was Senga against Hayes.
Here's the 1-1. Hayes hits it on the ground, up the middle. It'll be right by the bag at second. Semien hits the base, throws to first, and a double play to end the game. Ground ball right to Semien, right at the bag. And with that, the Mets will take this series. Road trip comes to an end with the Mets winning this one 4-2 as the Padres go 3-3 through Cleveland and New York.
Yeah, frustrating series loss for the Padres, no doubt about it. Should have mentioned that Hayes did pinch hit for Sungmoon Song. He did not start the game. Hayes pinch hit and grounded into the game-ending double play. It was hit right by second base. Second baseman Marcus Semien took care of it. And that was that in this series finale. Final totals for San Diego: 2 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error. For the Mets, 4 runs, 7 hits, and no errors. The Mets went 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position in this game. The Padres went 2 for 12. They left 7 on base. Winning pitcher today was Nate Lavender, who did a great job in this game. Coming on after Ty France hit that leadoff double in the 6th inning. He would get the next 3 outs to keep the Mets ahead 2-1. He picks up the win, improves to 1-0 on this season. It was Michael King taking a tough luck loss today. He was pretty good. 6 2/3 innings, just 2 runs given up. He drops to 8-9. The save goes to Kodai Senga, his 4th save of the season and of his major league career. So that's the way it went here today. Padres fall to 68-60. The Mets improve to 58-70. When we return, we'll hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen. Much more to do as the Padres drop this series finale rubber game of this series in New York by a final score of 4-2. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues after these words. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. I don't know what happened there. I My mouth stopped working for a second. Anyway, Padres fall today by a final score of 4-2 in New York against the Mets as the Padres drop the series finale in New York. Padres drop 2 out of 3. They go 3-3 on this road trip that goes through Cleveland and New York. You are indeed listening to our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. Well, look, Fernando Tatis Jr. had an amazing series. He really, really did with what he did in the final 2 games of this series in particular. Really, the issue was that he didn't get a ton of help in this series, if we're being honest, right? I mean, yesterday he was responsible for 3 runs being driven in. The Padres did get 2 other runs in the game in a win yesterday. He had the great defensive play, the robbery of the grand slam yesterday, but he didn't get a ton of help alongside him, and Fernando in this game certainly had a really, really impactful play. You look at the bottom half of the 7th inning, the situation, Jeremiah Estrada on the mound, runners on first and second for the Mets. The Mets are only leading 2-1 at this point, so Estrada is sort of desperately trying to keep it a 1-run deficit. Marcus Semien at the plate, and that sets the scene for today's scoop of the game.
What was the most crucial defensive play in today's game?
Throw to first is in time.
This is the scoop of the game. Served up fresh by Brewster's Real Ice Cream in La Mesa, the official ice cream of the Padres Radio Network. Roll through their drive-thru, download the app, and get an additional free scoop. Brewster's Ice Cream, the best ice cream in San Diego.
Next one coming, line the other way into right field. That's a base hit. Charged by Tatis. Alvarez being waved. Here's the throw to the plate. The tag by Campusano. He's out at home. Alvarez tried to slide around the tag, and Campy got him. Anything you can do, I can do better. And Tatis throws out Alvarez at home to end the inning.
Yeah, another great play by Fernando Tatis Jr. Great throw. Easy throw, really, to home plate on one hop to Luis Campusano. I'll tell you what, Alvarez at home actually did avoid the initial tag. He nearly got his hand in after avoiding the initial tag, and then he hopped back towards home, and he almost got his left hand in. Actually, it hit the ground before Campusano applied the tag on the second effort, but you saw in the replay, if you were watching this one, you saw, and I'm sure Jesse and Tony described it well on radio here too. You saw in the replay, Alvarez did get his hand down in time, but he was just short, like less than an inch short of the back of home plate. So Campusano did tag him out, and I thought on the replay it was pretty clear, and the Mets did challenge the out call at home, so we got some really good looks at it, and they did get the out at home, and Alvarez just missed home plate. He did get his hand down in time, but just missed home plate as Campusano applied the tag. So look, the throw there from Fernando, another really, really good throw, really, really fine defensive play, and had the Padres come back to win this game, I mean, that's a huge, huge play to keep it a 1-run deficit. But unfortunately, Padres didn't score in the 8th inning. Then the Mets scored 2 in the bottom half of the 8th inning to take a 4-1 lead. Padres made their noise in the top of the 9th inning, but could not find a way to ultimately equalize in this game. And I think it also sort of, magnifies, I think the problem in this series for the Padres was that aside from Fernando's heroics and his great play on both ends, both at the plate and defensively and right, I mean, the Padres didn't get a whole lot from other guys, right? I mean, they scored 1 run on Monday night. That came on my memory is eluding me here. They scored it on the Tatis sac fly, right, on Monday night. That was when he almost hit a grand slam. Instead, it was a sac fly to left, and they had all the runners thrown at home in the first 2 innings of that game. But again, the only run the Padres scored was in the 2nd inning on a sac fly on Monday. Okay, that was provided by Tatis. Tatis yesterday drove in 3 runs, so 2 other runs were courtesy of other guys in yesterday's game. Padres won the game, and here today, the Padres got 2 runs, and one of them was driven in by Tatis. So put it this way, just from an offensive standpoint, take the defense, and he was outstanding defensively, take the defense out of it. The Padres essentially had 3 runs in this series driven in by guys not named Fernando Tatis Jr. I mean, that's just not enough to go along with what Fernando was doing in this series. And by the way, if you didn't have Fernando's heroics yesterday, this very easily could have been a series sweep for the Mets. Really could have. So I talked about it in the opening segment from the perspective of felt like a winnable series for the Padres. It did. Hey, Fernando doesn't make that catch yesterday. Lindor hits it a foot farther, and Fernando can't leap up and get it. This very, very well could have been a situation where the Padres got swept in this series. So I don't think it was a great series for the Padres. Pitching really solid, offensively in particular. Left something to be desired in this series. Not a ton of guys doing much aside from Fernando. With all that in mind, let's go back to Citi Field in New York City and hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen following this 4-2 loss in the rubber game of this series against the Mets.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
Disappointing, given the way the two losses were, and you had your chances in both, and the way they went down. How disappointing is the series and the loss?
Yeah, pride ourselves in trying to win as many series as we can. You go on the road to a team that's playing good, lose the series, a couple of tight games that just didn't go our way, and we got to go home and get back at it. And the good thing is we love playing at home, and we're pretty good at home. So looking forward to this homestand.
The eighth there just kind of crumbled around Jeremiah, a couple softer hits and in the air.
Yeah.
Is that what you saw?
Yeah, exactly. I think, he's still working his way back, from the injury, and he doesn't look as dialed in as what he has been, at his best. But we're working his way there, and getting him in games like that are important. And fighting through, a little bit of adversity is important for him to be able to handle that. It was just one of those innings, he's almost out of it. We turned that double play and, come out smelling like a rose. But that isn't what happened. And, Yuki came in, did a pretty good job, still gave up the one. But, we had our chances in this game and just didn't quite happen.
How's Xander doing?
He's fine. I think he just had a cramp. He's just being precautious with it. And a hot day like today, humid, long travel. Felt like it was the right time to get him out of the game.
Hamstring cramp unrelated to the hit by pitch.
Yeah, unrelated, yeah.
You've gotten, I think, 4 quality starts in a row, 5 and 6, 9 this month. You weren't getting that for most of the season. What does that do for just the group, the pitching staff in general, and what can it do in terms of keeping guys in the bullpen fresh?
Yeah, you're right. I think leading up to that, bullpen was getting used quite a bit, and now they've been given a little bit of a breather here with a couple off days and the starters going deep in games. We love how the starting staff is going right now. I think they've taken to it, that they can be a big part of us winning. They have been a big part of us winning a lot of games here lately, and we'll need more of that, as the season ends, and to keep our bullpen fresh when we really need them.
What did you think generally of Michael today?
Yeah, I thought he pitched good today. I thought it was one of his better outings. Just gave up that home run down the left field line from a lefty and just curved down the pole. But other than that, he was in command of about everything today.
Hayes in the ninth, right on right. Is there something about the swing or the
No, it was just kind of feeling like we had a better hitter probably in the box. You could argue both ways, and we kind of went that way.
All right, that was Padres manager Craig Stammen following this 4-2 loss to the Mets on this Wednesday in New York. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios as we continue to wrap this one up. Our post-game coverage, as always, brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place. A couple of things I want to chew on here. First off, just the last question there. I had no issue with Austin Hayes pinch hitting for Sungmoon Song in the 9th inning, even if it was righty on righty. Now, it didn't work out. Hayes grounded into a double play to end the game, but Sungmoon Song has not been a great offensive player to this point in his very, very, very early major league career. He's actually been a great defender. He made a really costly error today. Certainly, that was a rare defensive miscue by Song in the 8th inning, and it was a really big one. And you know why it was really big? Because if Song just takes a little bit more time to go get the out at second base, and they turn that into a double play. It's a 2-1 game instead of a 4-1 game going to the ninth inning. And the Padres rally where they got a run in the ninth inning ends up being much more valuable, right? And then you're in a situation, had everything played out the same way, that the game was tied at 2 instead of you being down 4-2. Look, I thought that was a mistake by Song in the sense of you got to know your runner. Bichette does not run great. And had you just taken a little bit more time there, I felt like he had more time than he seemed to think he had. He rushed that throw. It was a bad throw and ended up being a really, really important moment in this game. But I had no issue with Hayes pinch hitting for Sung. I really don't care in that spot, righty on righty. I know Hayes, aside from the home run in his first at bat, has not done much yet. But you know what? Hayes is a much more accomplished hitter than Sungmoon Song. And Song has not shown you a ton offensively this year. So I really had no issue with it. I thought it was the right move, honestly. Didn't work out, but I thought it was the right move. So I just wanted to touch on that because Craig was asked about it towards the end there. I wanted to get to the starting pitching. If you want to take away just a silver lining from what otherwise was a frustrating series loss. And let me be clear, I'm not telling you it's the end of the world. The sky's fallen. The Padres have played great baseball lately. Okay. We've got into all the numbers already. They've played great baseball lately. In fact, they had not lost the series until today in their last 8 series. This is their first series loss in their last 8. Okay. They had been entering this series, 6-0 with a series tie in their last 7. So in their last 8, this is the first time they've lost in an 8-series span. It's a frustrating series loss, but if you do want to take away something really valuable and a silver lining certainly from it, it's that the starting pitching was really good. I mean, in this series, you had King, who, again, I don't think was at his best today. But, he did what he's done all year, which is just gut his way through 6 2/3 innings, 2 runs given up. I mean, today he was really good. Now, you know what? I take it back a little bit. He was really, really good today, aside from the Benj home run, which was not a terrible pitch and was a good piece of hitting by Benj. So I'll wind it in a little bit. Like, King was really good today. 6 2/3 innings, 2 runs given up. I'd actually be interested to talk to Tony about it and see what he thought about today's game from King, because we talked about it pregame and he was talking about it his last outing. Even though it was sort of the same of what he's been, he felt like maybe it was a little bit closer to that A+ version of Michael King. But King was good today. He pitched plenty well enough to win, put it that way. Then you have what Robbie Ray did yesterday. Now, Ray similarly, wasn't dominant yesterday, but gutted his way through 6 innings and a run given up. Quality start. Walker Buehler, certainly good on Monday despite the loss. 6 innings and 2 runs given up. And I'll take you one farther. Casey Mize, the 6 scoreless innings after the rain delay on Sunday. So the Padres have now had a stretch of 4 consecutive quality starts. It's the first time since May of last season that they've had 4 consecutive quality starts. I mean, think about that for a second when you consider where this rotation was 3 weeks ago, a month ago, where you basically had 2 starting pitchers and you were basically going with bullpen games the other 3 days out of your 5. I mean, this seemed, quite frankly, inconceivable that you could have 4 consecutive quality starts like they've just put together on this road trip. So if you want to take a silver lining away, to this point, I'd say this. The moves for Mize and Ray have provided the Padres with pretty much what they were looking for. I know Mize didn't have the great start in his first outing. He's been much better the last 2. Ray's been all right, but he's keeping you in games, and he's acting at the very least like what you traded for was, hey, I'm not saying Robbie Ray is the Robbie Ray of 2021 when he won a Cy Young, but he's pitched well lately, and he's keeping you in games, and that's what he's done. And Mize the same. So that is a silver lining, I think, from this 3-3 road trip, which was probably just a touch underwhelming, right? You face 2 teams with losing records, albeit Mets playing well. Despite the losing record, look, you want to have a winning road trip. You would have liked a 4-2 trip. Would have felt and sounded a lot better than a 3-3 trip. Again, not the end of the world. But a silver lining from this road trip to me is no doubt that your starting pitching has been very consistent, and they're doing what you hope they would do post-trade deadline, which is, for the most part, keep you in games and allow you to win some baseball games and provide stability and reliability, and they have done that again. First time this season, the Padres have put together 4 consecutive quality starts. The first time they've done it as a team since May of 2025. And just a little extra note here for Friday, the last time the Padres had 5 consecutive quality starts was over 2 years ago, July of 2024. So that's what they'll be going for on Friday. And by the way, the Padres are right now TBA on Friday. It's not going to be Joe Musgrove, according to the reporting from Kevin Acee earlier today. Sounds like Joe will pitch one more minor league game at least, and we'll assess from there. But again, I think that's a positive from this road trip, despite it being 3-3, despite losing a series in New York, is that your starting pitching was good. And that should bode really well for the Padres over the course of the regular season. All right, when we come back, get into more of our daily awards, might squeeze in a phone call or two, have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming your way as well. Padres fall 4-2 to the Mets on this Wednesday. They drop 2 out of 3 in New York, and we continue our post-game coverage after this. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score today, the Mets 4 and the Padres 2 as the Padres drop this series finale in New York. Padres coming back home, though, after an off day tomorrow. They begin a 3-game series against the Minnesota Twins on Friday at Petco Park. We'll talk more about that homestand coming up in a little bit. Hey, player, the rooftop pool's open. Day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Let's tell you about tonight's relief pitcher of the game.
which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut. This is today's Relief Pitcher of the Game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Relief pitcher of the game here today, and if you know me, you know I try to stay on the Padres side of things when I can. I don't think I can do that today with relief pitcher of the game. You know, Estrada wasn't great today, and he ends up getting charged with 2 runs, 1 earned in an inning of work. He allowed those base runners in the 8th inning to reach on a walk and a single. Now, certainly the error behind him was not his fault. And, you know, look, again, and I said it earlier, if Song makes that play, there's a chance the Padres get out of that inning with just being down by a run if they get that double play off the bat of Bichette. So that wasn't on Estrada. And by the way, Estrada, the only batter he faced in the 7th inning, Simeon singled, and if not for Tatis making the throw, you know, Estrada allows an inherited runner to score there. So it's hard for me to give it to Estrada. Matsui gave up the RBI single to Young that made it a 4-2 game. So it's hard for me to give it to Matsui. I got to tell you, I think it's pretty clear in this game from a non-Padres standpoint who the relief pitcher of the game is. To me, it's Nate Lavender of the New York Mets. And I'll tell you why. You look at where this game was. The Padres trailed 2-1. 5th inning, plenty of time left in this game. Ty France begins the inning against Jonathan Pintaro with a double in the 6th inning. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Let me rewind here. Top of the 6th inning, Padres down 2-1. Pintaro on the mound. He had finished the 5th. Ty France doubles to put the tying run in scoring position. Then the Mets go to this left-hander, Nate Lavender, to face Merrill. Merrill strikes out. Jackson had a tough series. He was 1 for 12, struck out a bunch in this series. Lavender strikes out Merrill. He strikes out Rengifo. He gets a ground out from Campusano, and the inning is over. So, again, this lefty Lavender comes in a 1-run game, tying run on second base, and retires 3 in a row. That was a great job by Nate Lavender. So, for that reason, how important that sequence was, going to give the Mets Nate Lavender our relief pitcher of the game. You know me. Rarely do we go to the opposition for our daily awards, but one of those days where it kind of feels like we have to. All right, that's a relief pitcher of the game. Let's tell you about the Padres' heart of the order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the heart of the order, presented by Palomar Health Medical Group.
Part of the order here today, Manny, Ty France, and Jackson Merrill. Machado 0 for 4 today with 3 strikeouts. He also grounded into a very big double play in this game. That came in the 5th inning to end the frame after the Padres had made it 2-1. So not a good day for Manny. Ty France did have the double, like we said, and Jackson Merrill 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. He had a pretty rough series, like I said. So combined, not a great day for the heart of the order. A combined 1 for 11 with 6 strikeouts and a grounding into a double play. Not a great day for the heart of the order. Machado, France, and Merrill, 3, 4, 5 spots. All right, we'll step aside when we come back. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll get you ready for this series opener on Friday against the Twins back at Petco Park. We'll preview the upcoming homestand for the Padres beginning on Friday. Still more to do on our post-game coverage, and then shortly after the top of the hour, we will flip things over to today's edition of Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello, Matt Scraby standing by. Tony on the way back to San Diego with the ball club. So they'll have plenty more Padres talk and all kinds of talk from the wide world of sports coming your way throughout the rest of the afternoon into the early evening. But we continue our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show after this. Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score today, the Mets 4 and the Padres 2, as the Padres drop 2 out of 3 in New York over the course of this 3-game series. Padres go 3-3 on the road trip to Cleveland and New York City. We'll talk more about today's game in a moment. We will also preview this upcoming homestand in a moment, but right now let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Full look, the out-of-town scoreboard. We have a handful of finals already today. We have one game going on right now. The one game certainly of note, Red Sox head of the D-backs 2-0 at Fenway Park in the third. Red Sox have already hit 2 solo home runs in that game. Nick Sogard is, I believe that's Sogard's. Hold on. I want to double check this here before I say something that's makes me sound foolish. Yeah, it was his first major league home run for Nick Sogard in 93 games. How about that? So Nick Sogard, his first major league home run, solo shot off Brandon Pfaadt. Jarren Duran, solo shot off Brandon Pfaadt. Red Sox leading 2-0 at Fenway right now. We have a handful of other finals. Pirates beat the Tigers 4-3 in Pittsburgh. Brandon Lau, a walk-off home run in the 9th inning. My brain broke there for a second because I said to myself, is that Lau? He's Brandon Lau, right? Am I crazy here? Yeah, okay, I'm right. Brandon Lau. Got it right. See, sometimes I got to trust myself. Brandon Lau. Looks like Low. It is Lau. Hit a walk-off home run in the 9th inning for the Pirates. Rafael Flores Jr. also 2 home runs in that game for Pittsburgh. A 2-run shot for Lau to walk it off for the Buccos. The Twins beat the Braves 6-4 in Minnesota. White Sox beat the Cubs in the finale of that crosstown showdown between the White Sox and Cubs in Chicago. 3-0, the final score in that one for the White Sox. Games coming up later on this evening, or later on this afternoon. Sandy Alcantara against Aaron Nola, the pitching matchup between the Marlins and the Phillies at 3:05. Yankees and the Orioles in Baltimore at 3:35. Will Warren against Chris Bassett, the matchup there. Giants and the Guardians in Cleveland at 3:40. Cardinals and the Reds in Cincinnati at 3:40. Matthew Liberatore against Chase Burns there in Cincinnati today. Blue Jays at the Rays at 3:40 in Tampa Bay. Max Scherzer against Drew Rasmussen. A's and the Royals in Kansas City at 4:40. Mariners and the Brewers in Milwaukee at 4:40. Logan Gilbert against Dustin May. Nationals and the Rangers in Arlington at 5:05. Cade Cavalli against Kumar Rocker. Angels and the Astros in Houston at 5:10. Ethan Pecco on the mound for the Astros. Walber Urania on the mound for the Angels. And finally, Dodgers and the Rockies in Colorado at 5:40. Roki Sasaki against Kyle Freeland, the pitching matchup there. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Wednesday, with the Padres game already being final. All right, so let's take a look at the NL wildcard standings, where things stand right now. Again, a lot of results today yet to be determined. So the way they look right now, Phillies are off today. Actually, I didn't say their name during that whole... No, they play... What am I saying? I just said it. They play later. Okay, so at the moment, the Phillies have a 1.5 lead on the Padres for the second wild card spot. So if the Phillies win, that extends to 2. If the Phillies lose today, that would drop... that would remain 1 game over the Padres. Padres will end today still sitting in that final wild card spot in the National League. If the Diamondbacks come back, beat the Red Sox, they'll cut that to a 1-game deficit. If they don't, Diamondbacks would still be 2 out. For the Cardinals, if they win today, they would then close to within 2 games behind San Diego. If the Cardinals lose, they remain 3 games. And same thing with the Marlins. If they win, they're 3 games out. If they lose against the Phillies today, they would remain 4 games out. So that's the way it looks. Good news. Padres will no doubt end the day still in a wild card position. However, look, when you lose earlier in the day, now you open up some other teams potentially gaining some ground on you. So we'll keep a close eye on the out-of-town scoreboard, see where things stand at the end of the evening. Final score here today, Mets 4 and the Padres 2. Let's hear today's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
Runs, Benj swings and hits it in the air up the left field line. Rengifo over, and this one gone. Oh my! Right in front of the foul pole. First row, just fair. No idea how it was fair, but it was, and a 2-run homer will give the Mets a 2-0 lead here in the fourth.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was our play of the game today. Hard to argue otherwise. That's because Carson Benj and his 2-run home run in the fourth inning against Michael King gave the Mets a 2-0 lead. They would never trail in this game from that point on. So Benj, the 2-run home run, fortunately, the only runs that King would allow in this one, but it was enough. And Benj hits it out the other way. Good piece of hitting. I didn't think it was a bad pitch by King, and Benj somehow, like you heard Jesse say there, you could hear the surprise in Jesse's voice. I was surprised too watching it. Somehow he tucked it inside that left field foul pole, just got out. So unfortunate, but that was indeed our play of the game. All right, looking ahead to this upcoming homestand for the Padres against the Twins and Pirates Friday, Saturday, Sunday against Minnesota, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week against Pittsburgh. Couple of giveaways I want to tell you about on this homestand. On Sunday against the Twins, it is the kids giveaway rough plush keychain. The adorable rough plush keychain is the ultimate accessory for backpacks and lunch bags. The item is limited to the first 10,000 kids ages 14 and younger, so kids can show their Padres pride everywhere they go. And I got to tell you, looking at this rough plush keychain, it is a very cute cute dog. That's a great keychain. I want one of those. My kid. Let the kids get it. I don't do keychains really anyway. But that's really cool. And the kids are going to like that. The rough plush keychain, like that. All right, Sunday against the Twins. That's the giveaway for the kids out there. The next day, Monday against the Pirates, the Merrill Robbery bobblehead. You can celebrate the Padres center fielders' signature defense with the collectible that freezes a highlight reel snag. Goes to the first 40,000 fans in attendance. It's a bobblehead with Jackson leaping above the outfield wall, ball and glove. Really cool. The Merrill Robbery bobblehead giveaway on Monday to the first 40,000 fans. So you got the rough plush keychain on Sunday. You got the Merrill Robbery bobblehead giveaway on Monday. So a couple of cool giveaways to highlight, and of course all the other great stuff they have going on at Petco Park throughout the weekend and throughout early next week. I'll see you there at the ballpark inside the Western Metal Building throughout the 6-game homestand. I do also want to mention, and I guess we do have some time before this to talk about it, over the course of the weekend, we will carry live here on 97.3 The Fan. I think I can say this. Well, I already started. The introductory press conference on Monday for Kwanzaa Jones and Jose E. Feliciano as they get introduced to San Diego, the new Padre owners. So that's going to be very exciting on Monday. We should have a lot of great coverage on Monday. So that's all coming up during the course of this homestand, and should be a lot of fun, a lot of exciting things going on at Petco Park for a team that will certainly still be in a playoff position at the end of tonight. All right. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the free Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcast. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well. Just another note or two about Friday's game. As always, first pitch on a Friday, 6:40 p.m. Our pregame coverage begins at 5:40. Padres right now, TBA as far as their starting pitcher for Friday. Friday, it would be the Randy Vasquez spot in the rotation. Doesn't sound like it's going to be Joe Musgrove returning. Sounds like he'll make another minor league rehab start. So right now, TBA on Friday. We did just see the Padres use an opener on in the last trip through where they got to the Vasquez spot. So could be an opener, could be Randy, could be somebody else on Friday. And again, left-hander Connor Prelip on the mound for the Twins on Friday with our first pitch at 6:40 p.m. Again, if you want to catch up on our post-game coverage, you can go back, listen to any or all of our show on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts, and also, of course, in video form on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel. Taking a look at the final totals here today as the Padres drop the rubber game of this 3-game series in New York. For the Mets, 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors. They left on 5. For the Padres, 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error. They left on 7. Winning pitcher today, we talked about him earlier, Nate Lavender, who improves to 1-0. Michael King takes the loss. He's now 8-9. Kodai Senga picks up his 4th save of the season. Time of game at Citi Field in Queens was 2 hours and 49 minutes, and the crowd at Citi Field today, 26,195. Once again, first pitch Friday at 6:40 p.m. Our pregame coverage begins at 5:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Jeff Hamby, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from inside our San Diego studios. Again, the final score here today, the New York Mets 4 and the San Diego Padres 2. We'll talk to you on Friday from Petco Park on the Padres Radio Network. Today's edition of Quinn and Chris coming up next.
Thanks for joining us for the Jamul Casino.